What happened to your Zags?
Skip, I'm surprised that Baylor won. I'm shocked at how they won. The speed, the physicality that Gonzaga had never seen anything like this. Skip, if you look at their team, they're built more like football players, not basketball players.
I agree.
Those guys got shoulders. They got up into them. A lot of deflections. They made everything difficult. Everything Gonzaga couldn't do was because of what Baylor did to them. Skip, it was nonstop. They made the three. Skip, the most threes made in the championship game is 12. Baylor had 10 last night. They had 7 at the half. And remember, we talked about it, Skip. Now, you better not let them do what they did to Houston. Remember, they hit 8 threes in the first half against Houston, and they never looked back. And basically, that's what they did to Baylor. They hit them with an avalanche of threes, and they never looked back. That three-guard offense, they got 3 guys that can take you off the bounce. They got Maceo Teague, they got Butler, and they got Davion Mitchell. Skip, what surprised me most was how well they rebounded with 3 guards. But what they did, they kept Timmy in the high pick and roll. And so now we got the mismatch we want. We can dance on him, and if they miss the shot, guess what? You got 6'7", 6'8" guys on your guards trying to keep them off the board. They got 16 offensive rebounds. Well, you're not winning, Skip. You lose the three-point battle. You let the team shoot 17, 18 more shots than you. Even though you shot 50% from the floor, when someone shoots 45% and they shoot 18 more times than you, this is what you're going to get. Gonzaga averages 90 points a game. Baylor held them to 20 under that. That says not only can we get to 80, we can keep you from getting to 80. I'm surprised they won. As I said at the start, Skip, I'm surprised they won. I'm shocked at how easily Baylor made it look. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but they made it look easy. Those guards were relentless, and the subs, everything was difficult. Skip, there was really no... Skip, you know how they backdoor you and everything is so efficient? Everything was a tip ball, and they had to dive on the floor. Baylor played well. Baylor deserved to win. I'm not so sure if they played 5 more times, Gonzaga win any of those games. Baylor is just a better team than what Gonzaga is.
So, if it would be 5-0 if they played 5 more times.
Yeah, if they played 5 more times, it'd be 5-0.
Then you shouldn't be surprised by what you saw last night.
Well, Skip, I mean, look, I also saw them coming down the stretch. Now, Baylor looked good, Skip. These were the 2 best teams. But then I saw them falter down the stretch, and they were losing games that they shouldn't have lost. But the way they played last night, now, I'm not so sure, Skip, they can play. That was a lot on the line. So I'm not so sure that if you're telling me it's going to be 5 times in each game for a national championship, you might be. But I'm not so sure that Gonzaga can beat them. If they win, they might win a game. If you play 5 times, Skip, the best of 5, they might win a game.
Okay. I was not shocked by what I saw because I saw the same thing happen to a very good, very physical Houston team on Saturday. Baylor put up 45 on Houston in the first half. And I sat back and said, that's no small thing that they just did.
Right.
But the world wasn't watching because the world was captivated by the Zags. Everybody wanted to see perfection.
Undefeated.
Everybody wanted to see undefeated for the first time since 1976. Everybody was on the Zags national Cinderella bandwagon after Jalen Suggs hit a shot that I thought was a lucky shot, but everybody else thought it was the greatest shot they'd ever seen to win the game against UCLA in overtime on Saturday. And the truth was, Gonzaga got exposed last night because Gonzaga just flat out got manhandled, got weight roomed.
Yeah, they did.
Just got bludgeoned from the start by, as you said, stronger, quicker, nastier, tougher, more relentless. I sat back after the first possession of the basketball game, Gonzaga's first offensive possession, and I said, uh-oh. If we could see it real quick, did you see? Baylor gets its hand on that ball, and I was like, oh, that was almost a turnover. And then they turn right around, and they get their hand on the basketball again. There it is again, and it gets tipped up. And I said, these guys are suffocating on defense. This is a rare basketball team that doesn't have a breakout star. No. Nobody knows any of them until last night. That's the first time anybody sort of discovered any of the Baylor players, including Davion Mitchell.
Well, Skip, Davion Mitchell grew up 20 miles from where I grew up.
Oh, he's a Georgia kid.
He's a Georgia kid. He's from Hinesville, Georgia.
Hinesville, Georgia. But so maybe you were starting to key in on
My
him.
sister told me about him. She went and saw him play because they played
Okay.
at the team where I went to high school at.
Okay.
And they played
but
them.
This is the rare team that enjoys playing defense even more than it enjoys playing offense.
Yes.
And this is the rare basketball team that actually has 4 guards who can take you off the dribble. And I'm talking about taking anybody off the dribble, including Jalen Suggs.
Yes.
So any of those 4 at any given moment can just say, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
I got this one.
I got it.
And they would try to do a high pick and roll, but they wouldn't even try the pick and roll hard because they just say, just get out of my way for a second. Let me take this.
Because, Skip, they put him in the pick and roll, and Timmy, it's like, well, Timmy is too slow to get back.
Yep.
And so they was getting layup or dunks. And now, Skip, even if they shoot the shot, you still got a big down there on Suggs, and you got a big down there on Cook. How they going to get the rebound? So guess what? Vital was relentless.
Well, I told you he's Charles Barkley 2.0.
Yeah, he might need to go to football. He might be a tight end.
You called him a guard, and I said, well, he's 6'5", 250, and he was the one, what did he get, 8 offensive rebounds?
8 offensive rebounds.
What?
When you said guard, I thought you meant offensive guard, because looking at his
Offensive
build.
guard, football guard.
Yes.
So they were so relentless, and they so destroyed Gonzaga's psyche and will early
Yes.
that I couldn't believe that Mark Few had to resort to playing zone to try to get back in the game. They don't play zone.
No.
They haven't played zone all year.
No.
And furthermore, the run up and down Zags, they got held to their lowest point total of the year in the national championship game. That is shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Drew Timme and Kispert got relegated to looking like two guys in headbands at the Y trying to get in a game, right?
That's what,
They did. They just looked overmatched to me. And Drew Timme's NBA stock was going through the roof, and all of a sudden, it nosedived.
Yes.
Because you could see what was happening. He just got out-physicaled at the
and
point.
the athleticism, Skip. He doesn't have the athleticism.
No, he's skilled.
Yes.
He's clever. He's creative. We get all that. He's crafty. But in the end, he just got overwhelmed and overpowered. And he scored 12 points, and he actually made 5 of 7 shots, but he couldn't get his shot.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's a problem. And then Baylor wins the boards 38-22.
That's shocking. With 3 guards.
38-22 with all those guards. And you made the point yesterday. I don't know. Can they deal with Timme? Yeah, they can deal with Timme. Can they win the boards? Yeah, they crushed him on the board.
Crushed him on the offensive glass.
Just remember, you're looking last night at 5 starters who were 2 seniors and 3 juniors. It's grown men.
Right.
Not that Kispert's a senior, obviously, but this was like grown men.
Yes.
Or as our man Eric Dickerson says, grown-ass men.
Yes.
That's what that came across to as me.
Right.
So what's the takeaway for college basketball this year? I'm not going to go so far as to say Gonzaga was overrated.
No, they're not. They weren't.
But Baylor was way underrated. Right. It was really, from the beginning, a 2-team race.
Yes.
They were supposed to play on December 5th. Right. They could not play. Right. Baylor was the one team that got camouflaged the most by COVID because, remember, Baylor in February had to take a 3-week pause in their program. Well, don't forget, they were 17-0 at that point on February 3rd when they finally had to say, we got to stop.
Right. And that might have been a blessing in disguise, Skip, because maybe Gonzaga get a sense of what they are. Because they didn't face each other December 5th. You have no idea what you're up against. Because you watching it on tape, you're like, okay, they look fast. But then in actuality, you get out there. You're like, what? They didn't look this fast.
Just overwhelmed.
Hands everywhere.
Got him in foul trouble.
Yes.
And Jalen Mills got a couple. Jalen Suggs got a couple quick fouls.
Well, he has to understand, Skip. You can't get that second reach in. You can't just let it go, bro.
Not in that game. With those stakes, not against those guys.
Right.
Okay, so here's why I swung and missed on Baylor. I knew of Baylor, and obviously they're playing in a tougher conference than Gonzaga was playing in the West Coast. But when they had to pause for 3 weeks, they came out of it and they had one nice home win against Iowa State, and then they went to Kansas. And I watched a good bit of that game, and I got to tell you, they got taken apart at Kansas. Just took them apart, out-rebounded them, outshot them. And in that game at Kansas, who was ranked 17th at that point, Jared Butler, who just took the game over MOP last night, he was 2 of 9. They shot 38% from the field and 38% from the free throw line. So they had one of those nights at Kansas that you just can't overcome. and they turned it right around. And in the semis of the conference tournament at Kansas City, they ran into Cade Cunningham, who I think will be the first overall pick. We're going to talk more about that versus Jalen Suggs later. But they ran into Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State, and they got their doors blown off again.
Right.
And Cade Cunningham went for 25 points and made 4 threes and shot 7 of 8 from the free throw line, had 8 rebounds, and just took them all apart again, and they lost by 9. So they lost 71-58 at Kansas and then by 9. And at that point, I said, they just can't get it back.
Right.
They lost their way, and they can't find themselves. And so I pretty much forgot about the Baylor Bears. And as Dan Wilkin of USA Today wrote today, they were actually hiding in plain sight. And they were. Again, some people picked them. A lot of people didn't pick them to make it to the Final Four. And all of a sudden, they got hotter and stronger and hotter and stronger. And you ran into a buzzsaw right on time. Okay, so I step back from the Gonzaga season and I say, well, should we remember it fondly or should it have an asterisk at the end of the year? I don't know how you're looking at it, but do you think it was a successful season? Because it's hard for me to go successful when you don't cap it off.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.